All right, shalom, shalom. I want to start off with giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Wakakadash. I want to say and give double honors to the apostles and the bishop, elders, a great millstone, for teaching his word in truth and sincerity and for ruling well. And salutations to the elect. Lord willing, we're some of those men and women. Hey, I'm my brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another quick lesson. And it was a response to a video that the brother GMS Amawad Ibad 444 posted. Please subscribe to this brother's channel and be edified. And the title of his lesson was Be Fruitful and Multiply, Exodus 1 and 9 and Isaiah 60 and 22, which will get those precepts. But I just wanted to kind of show the whole concept of monogamy. You know, it really stems from the ancient Greeks and Romans. All right, and we're in the second leg of the Roman Empire. This is the last leg. You know, it's just the last leg. We're in the feet, right? We're in the feet of the Roman Empire. But a lot of the things that they pushed in the Roman society, you know, in any nation that they took over, were their laws and their statutes and their commandments. You know, basically be like them, be like the heathen. Real quick, this is the book of First Maccabees. Excuse me. First Maccabees, I believe it's let me see, chapter 1, verse 40. 41. This is First Maccabees 1 and 41. And moreover, it says, moreover, King Antiochus or Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandments of the king. And it says, yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. Right? So even during the time of the Greeks, you know, you had this wicked king named Antiochus or Epiphanes IV. He caused the people that was within his realm, and that included the Judea, all those that lived in Judea, to leave their customs and their ways. And what you're going to understand, what you need to understand and should understand, that us having multiple wives is part of our custom as a culture. Obviously, like the brother said in his video, you know, we can't practice these laws, statutes, these laws or statutes, or really behold our own culture here in this society, because we're in captivity, you know, and a lot of the laws that they prescribe for us in this society are really unjust, right? You know, and like the brother said in his lesson, you know, the main reason why Esau is against what they call polygamy, having more than one wife, right, is because they want to stop you from growing. They want to stop us from growing as a nation, right? And so when you say you're only allowed to have one spouse at a time, you know, that's all you can have legally in this society, one spouse, right? But then even if you don't so-called contractually marry somebody in this society and you have multiple children, they'll make it even more taxing on you in this society. With the brother had mentioned child support and how that's it actually goes against the Constitution. And child support is set up to destroy the man, right? It's set up to destroy the man, break him financially, right? It's set up to exploit his financial capabilities, you know? And a lot of these women, they run to the courts to do so because they're angry, because they're mad. You know, they'll withhold the child. They'll put all these restrictions on you. You can't even see your children, but you're paying for these kids. You know, it makes no sense. But that's all a part of destroying the family. That's all a part of destroying people. And again, like Antiochus Epiphanes said, he wanted everybody to leave their laws. And not only their laws, but their customs, because our laws created our customs, our culture. Our laws are a part of our culture. And you had wicked Israelites that was with it. All right. So let me play a little bit of this real quick. This won't be a long lesson. This is just a quick reply. Let me play this real quick.
The government doesn't want you to have more than one wife. You know why? Because if men had more than one wife, they wouldn't be busy with female drama. They would be running at their full capacity as leaders. And guess what? Most governments are being run by dysfunctional leaders, people that aren't good leaders. And if the population, the general population, had many good leaders to offer a country, it would be competition to the government. So the government prefers monogamy. It prefers that you not function at your full capacity, not be the best man you can be. They promote men marrying men. They promote women marrying women. They promote men turning into women and women turning into men. But for some reason, when a man wants more than one wife, all of a sudden they draw the line. Why?
Right. And so, because Esau is wicked, he's turned everything upside down. Because you got to understand, a family is a business. You know, but this your first business. A family truly is. If a family that's operated right is a good business. It's a beginning business, right? And you us as men, we're supposed to be heads of that business, right? Then you have your woman, she's your help. Then you have your children, they become helps as they come of age, and then they learn the business of having a family and running a family and maintaining a family. And the more, like any business, the more employees you have, the easier it should be to get things done. You know, it wouldn't make it as hard on one particular person if everybody's pooling their resources together. But in this society, they teach you that, hey, you can do whatever you want and whoever you want, but you cannot have more than one wife. Like she said, you can marry a man, a woman can marry a woman, men can marry men, you can marry animals, you can lay down and have sex, so-called sexual relations with anybody in this society, right? Because this man has turned the world upside down, all right? And it's for a reason. You know, it ain't just because, oh, it's bad. Like, I'm gonna read something and they're gonna basically say that Salakia 29. They're gonna basically say that the reason why they don't do it is because, you know, polygamy affects multiple people and children, right? But that's not the case. It says Isaiah 29:16, surely the turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? And that's what Esau has done. He says that the Most High, Yahweh Shem Shai, don't have no understanding. The way the Lord created things through His Son is either obsolete, archaic, wrong, you know, confusing. But Esau, you're the one that confuses the world. You're the one that stifles people. And it ain't just Esau. All these nations, whenever they had us in captivity, they forbade us from multiplying. You know, that's they don't want you to multiply, right? Now, these Eastern cultures like Saudi Arabia, even the East Indians, to some degree, you know, but mainly the Eastern cultures, they practice what you call polygamy, and they also practice polyandry. So these nations, they not all the way to right, you know, because you'll have in some societies you'll have women with multiple husbands. That's off. That's confusion, right? In some societies you'll have men marrying 9-year-old, 8-year-old girls. You know what I'm saying? They do that shit in Afghanistan and other places too, right? Completely off. So these nations, they got to be guided correctly. See, like the brother had said in this video, in a time soon to come, which is the kingdom of heaven, and there's going to be a lot of multiplying, man, right? He had brought this out, Isaiah 6:60-22 in his caption. So let me get that real quick. Isaiah 60:22, right? Isaiah 60:22 says, it says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in His time. And this is another reason why Esau don't want us to have multiple wives and to be multiplying like that. He don't want you to be a strong nation. He wants you to be weak. But in the kingdom of heaven, we're gonna be extremely strong. It says a little one shall become 1,000. How is that going to happen? He's gonna have 1,000 kids. So that means that brother may have upwards to 1,000 wives. Let's say he had one child per wife. You know what I'm saying? And a small one, a strong nation. That's hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, right? There ain't gonna be no end to our lines in the kingdom of heaven, right? No one's gonna stifle that, right? And these children are gonna these little ones. They're gonna grow up to be great nations themselves. They're gonna spread their wings too, right? They're gonna spread their seed, right? The men of our nation, extremely. That's why we're gonna have to get off this planet. We'll have to go to other planets, bro. Because we're not gonna stop. And in these nations, they're gonna expand too. Not like us, but they're gonna have to expand because we need servants, right? And how you think that's gonna happen with us pushing monogamy? Nah, they gonna have multiple wives too, right? They're gonna have to deal with their women under the law, right? In this society, all filth is pushed, sexual perversion is pushed. But when you want to have the true sanctity of a marriage, and it should be between a man and a woman in the Most High. Marriage is not between a man, the state, and a woman, and then the Heavenly Father. It's not like that. That's not what marriage is. Unlike what this guy say from what's the dude IUIC? They claim that what they say they said basically sex is not marriage, but it is. The scriptures say it. I mean, the scriptures say it. The also too the Zondervan Compact Dictionary Bible explains it too. It says what marriage is a relationship that's cultivated through sex between a man and a woman in the Most High. That's it. That's what true marriage is. So that's something too. They don't teach us that in society, that when you lay down with a woman, you're married to that woman. So in most cases, we all committed adultery down here. If you ain't had no woman that was a virgin, and even still, she ain't sticking around. She's leaving. You know, once she get tired of you too old, you too this, you ain't the man for her. She's leaving because this world gives her options to leave. She could take the kids. She could take you to court. You know what I'm saying? She could forbid you from seeing the child. You right? She could not put you on a birth certificate, so the child don't even have your last name. So now you got a kid in the world growing up in complete confusion because it's out of order. The things that it's turned upside down. And again, this man he doesn't want us to be fruitful and multiply because it goes against his agenda. This is another reason why he has destroyed marriages and families. You know, from taking a man out of the house to exalting a woman and corrupting her mind more than it already is, right? Giving her all these advantages over the men. Well, that wasn't the way we did things in ancient Israel, right? That wasn't the way we did things in ancient Israel. This is from an article. I bring this out multiple times. This is from Bible Odyssey. It says wedding and marriage traditions in ancient Israel, right? So it says right here, the relationship between husband and wives was not equal. Like in this society, they say, oh, marriage is equal, 50-50. You know, some of these states, if you marry a woman, you got to give her everything that you have in that relationship is community property, especially if you got it during the marriage. So if the marriage dissolves, everything got to get split 50-50. That's off, right? Scriptures don't tell you that a woman supposed to get anything if she chooses to leave, right? This is the book of Deuteronomy. Real quick, Deuteronomy. Just bear with me, brothers. Yup, Deuteronomy. Chapter. Salakia. Salakia, brother. Kind of, this is the book of Exodus 21:10. It says, matter of fact, yeah, I was 21:10. If he take him another wife, because in the ancient world we were allowed to have more than one wife. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall not diminish. Let's read this in the blue letter. Exodus 21:10, right? Exodus 21:10. Again, it says, if he take him another wife, her food and raiment and her duty of marriage shall not diminish. So if you want to take another wife, you got to provide for that woman, right? And I'm not saying every man in Israel had multiple wives, but we did deal with women. We dealt with multiple women. If it was on our spirit, we did it, right? But we understood that to have multiple wives, it costs a lot. It takes a lot of your time. It takes a lot of your money. There's a lot of responsibility to go into it because you got to watch over these women, right? Like children. You feel me? But if you choose to take another wife, these things have to happen for her. I.e., you got to provide food for her. You got to provide raiment for her, which is clothes, and her duty of marriage shall not diminish. Now, what does it say in the NLT? If a man who has married a slave wife, slave wife. If a man marries, there's the NIV, if a man marries another woman, he must not deprive the first one of her food, clothing, and marital rights. And in NLT, it says if a man married a slave wife, takes another wife for himself, he must not neglect the rights of the first wife to food, clothing, and sexual intimacy, man. So these are things that we supposed to give a woman in the marriage, man. Right? Because in the ancient world, women were industrious, right? You read about the virtuous woman. And a lot of these women today, they're industrious, but they're selfish. They only think about themselves. They barely even think about their children. It's about them. It ain't about the man. You know, I watched a video earlier about this Jake. He was going through child support, and the woman, she didn't want to put him on child support, but the court ordered child support anyway, right? Now the judge told her, if you don't want the money, you could just give it back to him. You know what I'm saying? But the money's coming to you anyway. So, and she ain't say, oh yeah, I'll just give it back to him, right? She just said, no, I'm gonna take the money, and it's like $300. But guess what? That's all he's obligated to do, that and pay for health benefits. All right, he's obligated to do that. Okay, outside of that, there's no obligation. There's no obligation for that woman and that child, according to the U.S. court of law. But according to the scriptures, it says again, a woman's duty of marriage is what? Her food and her raiment, and her duty of marriage is sexual intimacy shall not diminish. And if he do not these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money. So if in the ancient, this is given to us, understand it, right? It says if the man failed to feed this woman, clothe this woman, and lay with her and deal with her, and what happens when you deal with the woman? She's gonna get pregnant. And you hitting it raw, yeah, she's gonna get knocked up. If it's the Lord's will, right? Then they say, what, she can go without money, right? Now, they don't teach you that in this society. In this society, they take everything. It says, if he fails in any of these three obligations, she may leave as a free woman without making any payment or without paying money, right? If he does not provide for her these three things, she is to go free without payment of money. You know what I'm saying? So she's supposed to go free if you don't do what you're supposed to do by her. But that, again, it shows you that marriage wasn't equal. It wasn't an equal opportunity thing. Okay? It says the relationship, going back into this article in the Bible Odyssey, it says the relationship between husbands and wives was not equal in the ancient Near East, including Israel. By all, one of the Hebrew words for husband also meant Lord or master, and men had life and death power over women in the case of adultery. In this world, that is out of the question. You don't have that kind of power, which in the ancient Israel involved a woman having sex outside of her marriage, or a man having sex with another man's wife. And that's what adultery is in the eyes of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Like the elder brother, he brought that out in this lesson right here. Okay, it says men though could have multiple wives and concubines, and were allowed to go to prostitutes. Like in this society, you get some of these Israelite groups. The first thing they say, "Oh, you guys go to deal with prostitutes." You say it's cool. Nigga, it's part of our ancient custom to do that. It's part of our ancient custom to have concubines, which were lesser wives. There was no covenant between us and their family, but they was women of the other nations, and we dealt with them as lesser wives. But they were called concubines, and we had wives of our nation. We were allowed to have that. So if a man can afford it, he could have all of these things. You know what I'm saying? If you couldn't afford a concubine and wives, you might have went to the prostitute for a little bit, do something strange for some change, something funny for some money, right? Thus, monogamy was a one-way street in this culture, right? So monogamy is a one-way street in our culture, and the one that walks down that street is the woman. Now, men, we are forbidden to deal with a woman who has a man, right? because that's adultery. Just like if a woman sleeps with a man and she's married to another man, or she has a man, if she sleeps with another man, she gets put to death. If a man lays with another man's wife, he gets put to death. And if she did it knowingly, both of them get put to death. That's part of the law, statutes, and commandments. And it helped put evil out of our nation. But again, one of the biggest things is, one of the things that they speak against polygamy is because really true, they ain't going to tell you this on the internet, but truly the elite don't want us to multiply in great numbers. Because you know that if we were allowed to do that, we would multiply in great numbers. And even though we're not allowed to do it, guess what? Jake's still multiplying in multiple numbers, bro. You got Jakes with 4 or 5 baby mothers. You got women with 4 or 5 baby daddies. Just out of control. Confusion. Straight up confusion. You see? This is the book of Exodus chapter 1, verse 9. And I'll start at 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the, in that word children is sons, the sons of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies. And why would we join to the enemies? Because y'all were doing us dirty. Right? So they feared this and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And that's what's happening now. This is why you got Planned Parenthood, you got drugs, you got alcoholism, you got violence, you got all these things that's set up to really deplete the Israelite population, starting with the man, right? So it says, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. So it says, so the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, right? And it says, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar and brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they were made them serve was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, which the name of the one was Shipra, and the name of the other Pua. And he said, when ye do the office of midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live, man. And that's the same thing they're doing today, right? They're destroying the sons. That's why a lot of times you have a son in these hospitals, man. Hey, it's a possibility that he may, if the Lord ain't with you and with him, he can come out retarded or jacked up because they poisoning the kids as soon as they get out of the womb with all of these different poisons and that stuff, right? Then if he grows up into a society, you know, the society is against him, and don't be a so-called Negro, so-called black man in this society. Your life is 10 times harder for you as soon as you're born, right? They make it hard on you. There's a possibility that you may be in prison, right? There's a possibility that you may not even make it past a certain age because of the violence and the destruction. There's a possibility that you can just get wrapped up in the system and be wrapped up in the system via marriages, via relationships with these women, jacked up. So everything is against the Israelite man. It's the same thing that they, not only Pharaoh tried to do to Moses, but Herod the Great tried to do to Yahushua, which was to stomp out the Messiah, right? By killing the young children that were born, chiefly the male children, because through the man comes the seed. Through the man comes the seed, all right? And it's basically, the more women you have, your seed line is infinite. They can't stop that. And then you have sons, and they have sons, and they have sons, and they have more sons, and the line goes on and on and on to infinity, right? But if you stop that man out, if you take the man out, and you just leave the woman, ain't no line to go. Your line stops at the woman child. You got a bunch of daughters, that's it for you. Your line is done. You know what I'm saying? So son is extremely important. So I typed this question in: why is polygamy outlawed in Western countries? It says polygamy, or the practice of having multiple spouses, has been outlawed in Western cultures for centuries for a variety of reasons, including the protection of women and children and men, which they don't care about that. Polygamous relationships can lead abuse and exploitation. According to them, polygamous relationships can lead to unequal power dynamics and a lack of autonomy for wives. And a woman don't have autonomy. In the Israelite culture, you don't have your own autonomy, right? You're in constant wardship from your father. If you don't have a father, your brother, or another responsible male, and if not them, then your husband, who may be subjected to physical, emotional, or financial abuse by their husbands or other wives. A cross-cultural study of polygamy in 170 countries found increased levels of abuse against women, as well as higher rates of maternal mortality, lower levels of education for girls and boys, and more. Then it says mental health issues, harm to society. Some argue that polygamy harms society and the institution of monogamous marriages. Ancient Greek and Roman philosophers described monogamous marriages as natural and necessary to foster mutual love, respect, and companionship, and that's a lie. And that's where this monogamous shit comes from. These Edomites, the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans, they were heavily into that shit. United Nations Human Rights Committee has also called for polygamy to be abolished, saying that it violates the dignity of women, which they don't care about the dignity of women. If they did, you wouldn't have these bitches butt naked on the screen every 5 seconds, man. You wouldn't have this wickedness going on in this world. In the United States, the government does not recognize bigamous marriages for immigration purposes, and immigrants who come to the country to practice polygamy are not eligible for permanent resident status, right? Because they don't want you multiplying in great numbers. So I also typed in where did monogamy originate? It says the origins of monogamy are debated, but some theories suggest it may have evolved with humans over 7 million years. No, it says social imposed monogamy, which we live in a society of social imposed monogamy. Social imposed monogamy was first established in ancient Greece and Rome. Even if sexual infidelity with concubines and slaves was largely tolerated. You see? So they were going off. Here's another one. How many wives would a man have? And how many wives would a Roman man have? Roman citizens were generally monogamous and could only have one spouse at a time, but they were allowed to divorce and remarry, just like in this society. However, wealthy men, such as emperors, may have had sexual access to many slaves, including women, who were often brought as breeders. And that's what happens in this society. Wealthy men, these women don't have a problem with wealthy men having more than one woman. Right? They don't have a problem with that, as long as they're getting paid. It says, some of these slave women's children were raised as legitimate children, given wealth, positions, freed at a young age. And that's what they do in today's society. One spouse. The institution of Roman marriage was practice of a marital monogamy. Roman citizens could have only one spouse at a time in marriage, but were allowed to divorce and remarry. The same thing they do in this society. See, in reality, in our society, we ain't allowed. We're really not allowed to divorce. Like Yahweh Shai said that we ain't supposed to give them a bill of divorce. It wasn't meant for that. When the man lays with the woman, she belongs to him for the rest of her life or the rest of his living life until he died, because he took her virginity. So he's supposed to be the only man that she know, right? Let me see if I can find this. This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 19, verse 7. It says, matter of fact, I'll start at this whole thing is good. Well, concerning divorce, let's just read it. Yahweh Shai spoke, right? This is Yahweh Shai speaking, right? It says concerning divorce, right? It says, and it came to pass that when Yahweh Shai had finished these sayings, he departed from Galilee and came into the coast of Judea beyond Jordan, and great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there. And the Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? Because that's what Jake was doing. They would find a cause to divorce their woman, right? And you ain't supposed to do that. It's just for any reason. So they were asking Yahweh Shai, they were saying, they were trying to test him. And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, not trans or weird or whatever. He made them male and female. And said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh, right? And you become one flesh with your woman when you lay with her, right? And you break that hymen. Now y'all tied together. It didn't just stop with one wife. That was the process for any wives that you got, right? She's supposed to stay with you. You're supposed to stay with her, right? Unless she commits adultery, then she get put to death. Right? And it said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore the Most High have joined together, let no man put asunder. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement, and to put her away? He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so. So because Jake was being niggas, hard-headed, and they were basically forcing this man, the man Moses, to basically side with them, he said, look, man, if she don't do what you like, just give a bill of divorce, man. But that's not the way it was supposed to be. That's not the way the Most High originally intended it. It says in the NLT, Yahweh Shai replied, Moses permitted divorces only as a concession to your hard hearts. But it was not what the Most High had originally intended. You see? And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. Whoso marrieth her which is put away, doth commit adultery. Because you ain't supposed to put your wife away for no arbitrary reason. Unless she commit adultery against you, that's the only reason. Right? It says in the NLT, and I tell you this, whoever divorces his wife and marries someone else commits adultery, unless his wife has been unfaithful, man. Right? And that's the only reason why you would divorce your woman, is if she committed adultery, and she was going to die anyway. Right? But then you leave your woman, and she's out there. You causing her to commit adultery. So you're just as guilty as she is. You just leave her. You hate the woman. You don't like her. So you just toss her to the side. You ain't taking care of her. You ain't doing that. You ain't doing nothing for this woman. You just toss her to the side so you can just marry somebody else. Like, bro, that's off. Because it was meant, the Most High meant for us to be joined forever. And that's how it's going to be in the kingdom of heaven. Right? We're going to be joined together forever. All right? When we lay with these women, the women of our nation, and even the women of the other nations, they ain't going to be able to quit. These concubines are going to be like, yo, I'm tired of this, this N-word or whatever. Nah, she's done. Once you lay with her, she belongs to you. No other man, especially no Israelite man, is going to want her. They ain't going to have no eyes for her. They ain't going to have no heart for her. Hell no. Because she belongs to you. Right? And we not going to die. We're going to live eternally. Them concubines may pass, but our wives and our children going to live eternally. So it's nothing. Okay? So I just wanted to reply to the brother video. I hope you were edified with that. I would say shalom and on to the next.